So hello again. Continuing on from the topic. Um, so I mentioned Chinese and what I intend to do with it and what I think of it. So I have always been curious about Chinese. I've wanted to learn it for a while. Well, since I became interested in Asian languages about 2 years ago, I started learning Indonesian and I'm still learning that. So that's Indonesian's my main focus, and I don't want to give it up because I think it's a great language. So I kind of always, I don't like Chinese as much as Indonesian, but I still do enjoy Chinese culture and hearing Chinese language. So I do want to learn it. To what extent, I'm not sure yet. If it will be a long-term project or a short-term project. And what's so exciting is that I'm actually going to China, and I'll be exposed to the language, which is exciting because the language is real. It's no longer, just something to study or read about, which is very good. So that might inspire me even more to continue with Chinese. Also, the fact that there are many Chinese immigrants here in Australia. There are many, many. A lot of them Mandarin speaking, and a lot of them Cantonese speaking too. So learning one of those languages is definitely worthwhile in the long term. You'll have people to practice with, you can make friends, and down the road there may be job prospects, employment opportunities. Should they arise, then you'll be equipped um, with the language skills. Uh, so I'm not sure what I want to do. It's probably a smart move to make that one of my main goals, along with Indonesian or something like that. Uh, we polyglots tend to take up a lot of languages and drop a lot of languages, as I've noticed, which is okay. I think uh, it, dabbling is great. I think you get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You can learn about a language. You can even get to use that language to within your limited capabilities. So I don't think there's anything bad about dabbling at all, and that may inspire you to learn other languages. So it's certainly not a negative thing. So I like to have my main languages and I like to have my dabbling languages. So which will Chinese become? I'm not sure. Um, I think it will probably become one of my main projects. I think it will probably eventually become that way. We just have to see what happens. So I think it's definitely a good investment to learn something like Chinese or Indonesian or Arabic or Farsi or Hindi or something like that, or Korean, because uh, those, while I am a big fan of obscure languages and smaller spoken languages, that they are very interesting. We shouldn't discard those. However, that being said, I think it's a good investment to probably learn one of the major languages and continue at that for many, many years throughout your life. I think that's a very smart investment. Not now, you may not be after a job using that language, and that's fine. Even just for you just want to socialize and use that language on a daily basis, and that's also fine too. It's great. You get to meet people and have opportunities that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Um, so that would be my advice. Maybe if you wanted to learn an obscure language, you should do that, and maybe have a common and more widely spoken language as well with you. I think that's kind of fun. I like the idea of doing that. Um, so I plan to probably learn Farsi as well in the future. That will probably not be a huge project. Um, the more languages you take up, the more work you have, and the less time you have with your other languages. So you don't want to. you want to make sure you know which languages you'll be dabbling with and which languages you'll be taking more seriously. So that's fine as long as you know that. So Farsi, possibly. There's still Korean, which is a possibility. It's all too hard to decide. But I say Chinese, there's a fair chance of Chinese becoming a long-term project, yeah, along with Indonesian and other languages that I have. So Italian is obviously a language that I use on a daily basis. So I don't see anything changing with that. That'll always be there. Even though I'm not that passionate about it. I mean, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy using it and communicating with family and friends and whatnot. But it's not as interesting to me as others. Probably because I was born into that. But nevertheless, it's still a very good language. Indonesian, which I'm very interested in, it's brought me into a whole new culture and world that I didn't know about before. It's a very interesting language, a very accessible language too, I think. Very accessible Asian language. It's very good for Australians to learn, I think, too. It sounds nice, and for the most part, it's very straightforward. So yeah, so these are probably my goals. So sometimes it's hard to say because if we're polyglots, we can chop and change, and we can be tempted to learn, take on new languages, which is good. I think as long as we know which ones we want to do seriously and which ones we want to just have a little bit of fun with. Because you can do a lot. You can do a lot with a little bit too. You can achieve, if you have a lot of words and phrases in, say, I don't know, Korean or Farsi, then you can go out and meet people if you like the social aspect, if you're not too afraid of doing that. And you can still make a lot of friends and have fun with the language and experience the culture to a limited extent, which is also fun. And you may enable you to travel too, so you can obviously enjoy your holidays a lot more and have much more fun over there. It's always more fun when you have a bit of a language with you. So yeah, so what do you guys think? What do you guys do? Do you like to have a dabbling language and a serious language? How do you do it? And which language, and how do you choose that? Thanks for watching.